Hi there. I'm your host, Corinne, and this is Okay, But Are You Good? Where we check in on ourselves on a weekly basis to see how we're doing. Are we living our best lives or are we just trying to get by? This past week was better. I feel like I'm in a better mood. Things are lighter, living my best life, truly. So I hope you are as well. This week's topic is for all those people out there that feel like they are not living their lives for themselves. You're constantly getting pulled in multiple directions and you're doing things out of obligation just to keep the peace, just to get people off your back. And you really do feel like you're not living your life for yourself. You're living it for those around you. And it's so exhausting and it's aggravating and like just frustrating. And it's kind of hard to break that cycle because you don't want to let anyone down. You don't want to hear about the guilt trips. You just want to do what you got to do and be done with it and move on and get back to doing what you want to do. So if this resonates with you in any way, this episode's for you and let's get into it. If you're like me, you feel like you've kind of always been living your life for other people. There's these expectations that have been set and you're trying to meet or exceed them. You don't want to let anyone down. You want to keep showing up, keeping the go-to person. It totally falls into that people-pleasing aspect as well. I guess for me, that's never going away. I laugh because or else I'll cry, right? So no one's crying here today, so don't worry. I'll save that for later. But living your life for other people, it either has always been a thing or it just slowly starts creeping up. You're prioritizing other people's comfort. You're showing up out of obligation, not for joy, not for fun, but because you feel like you have to. You're going to parties, you're going on trips that you don't even want to go to because you feel like you have to. You don't need to do things you don't want to do. But sometimes in the moment, you forget that, or you just really feel like can't get out of something. And that happens to everyone. I think there's only like one friend in my life that's perfected this, and it's because they literally do not care and they're going to do them. And somehow just they've earned that title and everyone's respected it because they've been so hardcore and shut off and focused on taking care of themselves mentally and physically. So people are like, all right, cool. Like, you set that boundary, we're going to respect it hardcore. And I think it's because they're so direct. I'm not very direct. I kind of wishy-wash around things, which is why I think people take advantage of my kindness, of like knowing they can guilt trip me into doing something I don't want to do, knowing I feel this obligation, so I'm just going to show up. And I'm over it. I think this episode, like, I can't believe it's February, but it goes in ties with the holidays. There's so many events, so many parties. Some of them I really look forward to. Others I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to fake pleasantries. I do not care what's going on with your life, but I'm still going to show up. And I think it's like sentimental to me. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have this time back again with all these people, so I better go so I don't regret it. Yeah, I'm always thinking the future, trying to focus more on the present, but I think that's how I end up just doing so many things out of obligation and showing up when I don't want to because I want to be able to help out. And as I mentioned 5,000 times, last year was really hard. So being around loved ones, even when I didn't want to, it was important to show up because time is a gift and you don't always have all the time with everyone. So that's how I end up feeling stuck and feeling like I'm living my life for other people because I'm so sentimental with certain things that like I'm not sure I'm going to get back. And then it just spirals out of control. And then I'm going to like, great, I really didn't want to go to this dinner, but here I am on my day off, hanging out with people I literally do not want to hang out with. And yeah, obviously there's worse things in life, but sometimes you need that mental time for yourself. You need that mental break. And if it's consistently happening or constant, you're like, you're just over it and you're exhausted. And it's not only exhausting, it's lonely because as you're constantly showing up and constantly doing things for people, like it's a disconnection. You're kind of like a robot going through the motions of like, okay, I gotta be here. I gotta do this. I gotta show up there, blah, blah, blah. and you think no one actually knows you. It's how I've mentioned before, like I could be screaming at you, telling you what's up, or I could be talking totally normal and you're still not taking the time to listen and hear what I'm saying. And then you have to repeat yourself and you're like, this is so frustrating. And then they don't even care because they're so focused that you're gonna meet them where they need you to meet them. Even though you're like crawling your way there because you're so tired, because you're just not living your life for yourself. It's like you're watching your life from the shadows almost, like like you're your own ghost, you know, and you're just like, who's this person? Who's this girl? Like not being who she wants to be. I definitely kind of had that come up, but I think in the years past, that was me just going through the motions, doing what I had to do to survive, living it for other people, doing what I had to do. And this cycle is so hard to break because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You don't want to hear about the guilt trips of like, everyone was there except you. We had such a great time. But it would have been better if you showed up and gave us a moment of your time. But you don't need to show up to everything. You don't need to be everything for everyone else all the time. Yes, show up for other people, help them out. But if you mentally cannot do it, don't do it. In the last few years, that's really become a thing. I tell my best friends, like, hey, I'm in a really bad mood. I'm not going to meet up tonight. Like, I'm just going to bring the mood down. I don't want to ruin everyone else's night. You know, sometimes I'm able to snap out of it, but I am team not faking it if I don't have to. Like if I'm in a bad mood, I just want to be in a bad mood. It's kind of just that simple. But when it comes to like other life scenarios, it's not that simple. You kind of just have to suck it up and show up even though you don't want to. And it's so exhausting, feeling like you're constantly disappointing people, rocking the boat, being judged because you don't want to do everything that they want to do all the time. But choosing yourself doesn't mean that you're a selfish person. It just shows that you care about yourself. You care about prioritizing yourself and working towards being that happy, healthy, best version of yourself. And a lot of people are focusing on that right now. And that is wonderful, in my opinion, that people are putting themselves first and it's not being frowned upon all the time anymore. So what are the signs of that you're living your life for other people? You're doing things you don't want to do. You're feeling immediate guilt if you're not showing up. You're concerned that you're going to be judged if you're not doing things that you have to do, things out of obligation. And you're just dreading living this life that you don't want to live. I've recently kind of regretted moving back to SoCal. I knew I was always going to move back here and it was kind of obligation to be back with my loved ones. And I thought like I'd love it right away and things would be great, but LA is so different from the Bay Area in like so many ways. There's so many great things about LA and there's so many great things about the Bay, but I just miss my friends. I miss the food. I miss living in a 7x7 city and knowing the area so well. I mean, I grew up here and I barely even know the street names. I'm very bad at directions and I just like kind of fell out of love with LA. Like I have friends here, but everyone's so busy. And living here, there's more stuff to do out of obligation. I got so used to missing out on people's birthdays, graduations, all that stuff. And now it's overwhelming. And if I don't show up, I feel guilty because it's like, what are you doing? You have like 5 friends here. Like you obviously have the time, but I think I did move back out of obligation. That's why it's like, I feel like I'm living my life for other people, but I would have regretted it if I didn't move back here because there's life events and parties and not so fun events that if I was in the Bay Area, I would have missed. So it's nice being here and being able to be with my loved ones. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I really wish I could just live in New York. I love it there. I love living in a big city. Obviously, LA is a big city, but it's different. It's just so different. The people and the transportation and the food, you know, I love it there, but I probably wouldn't survive with the snow. And I just think like if certain things in my life were different, I probably wouldn't be in LA. And I say in like the next 30 or so years, like I'm going to end up in New York. Maybe we'll see how I feel by then. But I just don't think LA is my end all be all. I just don't think it's for me. I don't know. We'll see. life changes, right? And there's been another event in my life about this trip that my friends want to go on. I really don't want to go on it. I'm trying to do and it's like, oh, Corinne, you have to go on a trip. Like, oh, and you don't want to go? Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to hang out with people. I don't want to take that time off of work. I don't want to spend money. I don't want to be burned by anyone again. Don't travel with people that you know aren't going to pay you back. Don't be me. Don't be that silly goose that hoped it would be okay and it's not. And I still have people owing me money. So make sure you're traveling with good people. But I think over the last month, I hit like the wall where I'm just over it. I'm over the guilt trips. I'm over having to do things I don't want to do 24/7. But I seem to not be able to break the cycle. I seem to keep doing things I don't want to do out of obligation. And then I get this resentment, and that is what I'm working on this year. Is really I've slowly started setting some boundaries, and the holidays are so hard. I think the holidays have to be the exception of you just have to show up because time is fleeting. So you need to be with your loved ones, but maybe you don't have to show up to all 20 parties. Maybe just show up to 15 instead. There's worse things, but sometimes when you're in it, you can't take that step back and be like, this really isn't that big of a deal. But the guilt trips really get to me and it messes with my mental. That's why I hate it so much. But we're going to stop living our life for other people. And you're going to do that by asking yourself, what do you want? Do you want to show up to this? Do you want to have to go run this task or whatever someone's asking of you? If you really don't want to do it, set that boundary. Say, no, I don't have the time for this. I don't have the mental capacity. The people that get it will get it. And the people that don't, they'll give you some attitude, whatever. But they'll figure it out. As I've said before, everyone always ends up figuring it out because you also have always figured your stuff out, right? And still guilty of this, but you can say no without having to over-explain your reason. It's so beautiful just getting clean and cut to the point. And they're like, all right, cool, moving on to the next person. Because your life is not going to make sense to everyone. All it needs to do is make sense to yourself. And that's how you'll decide on your choices and your next movements and how your life aligns with itself, if that makes sense. But if you're just figuring this out, that you've been doing things you don't want to do, you've been feeling like you're living that ghost or the shadow of yourself, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to explain the visual. You're going to be okay. You're not too far behind. It's not an overnight fix. You're just slowly becoming more aware. You're becoming more aware of your surroundings and your day to day. And you're not alone. I'm here with you. And I'm here to tell you, you're allowed to live your life for yourself. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to have your own thoughts and feelings. And you're allowed to choose yourself and not feel guilty about it. Thank you so much for listening in. And make sure to ask yourself, okay, but are you good? I'll catch you all next week. Make sure to like and subscribe and have a great one.